Hello everybody and welcome. It's exactly 4 o'clock in Cairo. It's now time for World of Info. With Dr. Amr Mabrouk, Professor of Plastic Surgery at Ain Shams University. Mohammed at the controls of Najla NAGIB, and we're with you until 5 o'clock, so stay with us. Yes, hello everyone, and today we're pleased to have with us Dr. Zaki, strategic thinking and international marketing expert. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a great pleasure to have with us Professor Dr. Zaki, not only a strategic thinker, not only a holder of a BA and MBA from the American University degree, from American University, but having a master's also and PhD from Maastricht University as a strategic thinker, a well-known strategic thinker, and at the same time a great lobbyist for Egypt in different aspects and different prospects, and a co-founder of the Egyptian European Council, and a holder of 2 decorations from 2 European countries for the great effort that she has done in improving the relations between Hungary and between Austria and Egypt. So she has the Grand Cross of Honor from the Austrian Republic and the Knight Cross of Merit from Hungary, both given to her once consecutively in 2004 and 2012. A very distinguished lady, but I prefer the best thing that she describes herself with: she's an Egyptian human being. Welcome to our program. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you with us in this afternoon. And everybody has heard a lot about Dr. Zaki, and definitely it's time for us to share with our listeners some information about you.
It's a great pleasure and honor to be with both of you.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Thank you. And I'd love to talk about myself as a human being. I'm very proud to be an Egyptian, and I'm very proud to be one of the descendants of a great civilization, and I believe that being an Egyptian is a great privilege and a great honor, because I'm very proud of my country and the history of my country and my family and my people, my nation, and this is the starting point of any person who wants to be successful.
So definitely, we'll start from the very beginning, because Dr. Zaki had a special type of education. She's a graduate from Mouradier, which is a French school in Egypt, and then she entered in the university, or enlisted in the American University in Cairo. So she has a francophone exposure and an American or an English exposure. And then she ended up by more globalization by having her PhD from Netherlands, from the very distinguished University of Maastricht in Holland. And this makes her a citizen of the world as regards education. But it gives us just a glimpse of, maybe, as we were discussing before going on air, about the most important lesson that you have got in all these years of education, whether this was in the Mouradier or in the American University or in Maastricht, is that truth is the crown of success, right?
This is absolutely right, because of the background you just mentioned, and because of the values the family puts in you, and because of this tradition and beliefs and credibility given to you by the environment, by the value, by the faith you have as a human being. I must say that without all this, nobody can make it. So what really made my life more meaningful and more successful, it's the balance between all this. It's the foundation has to be very strong, which is my faith. I'm a believer. I believe in the power of God and the love of God to me and to human beings. I believe that everything we go through is for the best for those who love the Lord.
Yes.
And this is the foundation of my faith and the foundation of my life. I'm Christian, I'm Copt Egyptian, because Coptic means Egyptian.
Yes.
I'm Copt Christian, and through this foundation, it gives the tolerance that you love everybody, you love your neighbor as yourself. Through this faith, you accept challenges and you take them as opportunities. Through this foundation, you actually capitalize on all circumstances happening surrounding you, even if there are problems or threats. I always say, and I educated my two beautiful daughters this way, safety is not in the absence of danger. It's in the presence of God.
Mm-hmm.
You feel safe because God is with you, and God is with the truth. And I always say the truth is very loud, because sooner or later the truth wins at the end of the day. So even if you face difficulties, troubles, challenges, whatever, this is your foundation. The other two elements that really bring success to any human being is discipline. Discipline is extremely essential and is an integral part of success, because without working very hard and without really believing and without having a vision in your life, you want to achieve something, you cannot achieve it, and you cannot have any results. So I always say also, do your best and trust God for the rest. The definition of your best is extremely important. What is your best? Your best is to go beyond what you can do. Your best is to go much, much further than anybody can take it. You see, you study hard. I remember when I was working on my doctorate degree, I was working full-time, I was studying full-time, I had my two daughters, I was for their full-time, and also with my husband, who is an artist, Farid Fadel, I was for him full-time, for all his exhibitions and all the preparations. So it's the blessing, and this is extremely important. When you do your best, you are blessed, because you're not working alone. It's I used to finish few books in no time. It's the blessing of time, and this brings the third element, which is time management and good planning.
So before we go to time management, we refer to a very nice article that was published this week in the Time magazine about lying.
Yes.
And it was saying that the problem with lying is the same like what our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, is that people tend to start lying and tend to believe their lies, and then they follow themselves by even fooling a lie detector.
Yes.
Because as you find yourself, you go on practicing lying until you don't really know what the difference between the lie and the truth. But everybody will know in the end that you are a real liar. So this was the first lesson that you have learned in life, is that you have to be very truthful and you'll never lie.
Yeah.
And the second important thing, which I believe that you have just passed with a glimpse and would like to attract the attention of our listeners to, is the heritage that you are holding on your shoulders. I mean, you come from a very distinguished Egyptian Orthodox family that has a great important footsteps in the history of the Coptic Church, because your grandfather, Gladios B. Labib, was the second director of the Egyptian Coptic Museum, after following, of course, the famous Semeka. And, of course, he had the honor and the persistence to write a dictionary that has immortalized the Egyptian Coptic language, and making a sort of direct connection between the Egyptian and or the Coptic language and the Coptic Orthodox language and the Arabic language.
Yes.
And this helped a lot the scholars,
Yes.
the educators and workers.
Yeah.
And you are following these footsteps, have done something which I believe is of a great importance, while holding the important post of the cultural coordination in the American University for more than 20 years. You had also an impact for a great lobbying of a Coptic church of chair of studies in the American University in Cairo, allowing the Coptic Church or the Orthodox Coptic Church to have a window on the world, because
Yes.
the Coptic Orthodox Church is a very special church. It's a church that we are proud of because it's part of Egyptian heritage and history. It's a popular church that has never had a patron, and all its art and all its theology is based on its people.
Yes.
And it is through this love affair between the people and their church that this church has become prominent theologically and emotionally in the hearts of all Egyptians. And you had the chance to promote the adoption of a share, so that nowadays it's not only the only place for studying Coptic history or Coptic art was only in the clerical school in the church. Now there's a chance for students to learn that in the American University.
Absolutely.
Tell us about this, because this has put you into the distinguished, most important 10 Coptic Christian people in Egypt. Tell us about this, please, because this is important, because this is part of the Coptic heritage, and then we'll talk about your Egyptian heritage as a nationalist and a believer in Egypt and the new Egypt.
Yeah, the interesting side of being a very authentic descendant of a Coptic family, Orthodox Coptic family, and in fact, my mother's side, it was not allowed to speak Arabic at home. They were only allowed to speak Coptic and French, Coptic language. And that was very interesting because it helped me a lot, because I speak some colloquial Coptic, because you have the colloquial and the classic Coptic language. The classic is used in the church's messes, and the colloquial is used by families at home every day. So it helped a lot when I want to say something to my mother, and all the surroundings speak all different languages, Arabic, English, French, Spanish. And so if I want to say something in secret, we immediately shift to Coptic language, and we're sure nobody knows what we're talking about. But the whole point here is, I love it for the Coptic chair to be taught at the American University in Cairo, because it had to take another level, as you were just mentioning, and you explained it so rightfully. And I believe this is the key point: is people need to know more and more about all cultural heritages, all religions. We have the sky is open for knowledge, so the more the merrier. And we have a very big department of Islamic studies, and this attracted lots of foreign students, not just Egyptians and Arabs. The same case with the Coptic studies and the Coptic chair, and it's really, it makes it more international, and it does help a lot. And here I always use what our wonderful Pope Tawadros says about Egypt as a whole, and Egypt is for all Egyptians. There is no difference between Christians and Muslims, or Muslims and Jews, or Muslims and Christians and Jews and Chinese or Buddhists, Hindus, and all religions, as long as they lead to love and tolerance and accepting each other, is such a great plus and a great belief. So what Pope Tawadros always say, especially about Egypt, if the world is in the hands of God, Egypt is in the heart of God.
That's a very nice...
So it is loved.
Definitely.
Egypt is loved, and this what keeps Egypt always safe and Egypt always strong.
It's a definitely
protected.
God's will, as it's even mentioned in the Quran. Yes,
yeah,
and
Egypt
this
is
gives
special.
Egypt is very
gives
special.
You more, it gives you more strength to work hard, and because that's the whole point. Faith keeps you work harder. It's not, oh my God, I'll stay and pray all day and do nothing the rest of the, On the contrary, when you have faith, that's my case. Faith made me work day and night, 24/7. Faith made me more successful, because when you have faith, any problem you go through, you are strong enough that you're not alone facing it.
And this really is very important, because as Pope Tewodros said, the Egyptian church has seen a lot, and the Egyptian people have seen a lot. The suffering of the Egyptian church in its early years, whether this was during the age of the martyrs, or the year of martyrs in 284,
yes.
or the 325
yes.
convention,
yes.
and the 451
yes.
Caledonian convention, all these
yes.
conventions and all these sufferings that have been suffered by the Egyptian church
absolutely.
has
yeah.
helped to build a strong church that has a faith in God
perseverance
and a faith
yeah.
in Egypt.
Yeah.
And this will put us to the next phase of Dr. Mona Zaki, not only working as, of course, as her as a cultural coordinator and responsible head of the cultural cooperation and coordination in the American University for almost more than 20 years, and doing a lot and arranging a lot of civil activities and cultural activities. We have to go to the best investment that Dr. Mona Zaki has done in her life, which is investing in her family, investing her in her beloved and dear friend and dear husband that we know of, Dr. Farid Fadel, the artist and the musician, and her two jewels, the two daughters who I believe are a model for Egyptian young ladies. Let's talk about this most important investment that you have done in your life, and then we go back to the business.
I'm really very, very proud of my family. With Farid, in fact, when we got engaged, he asked me, because he's a very efficient and brave ophthalmologist.
He's a very good ophthalmologist.
He's really, really very good ophthalmologist. And he asked me, shall I go for a clinic or shall I focus on my art? And it was a very tough choice, because art 30 years ago is financially you needed really to have a support or a sponsor for art. So because I'm an artist, and I used to be a soprano. This is how we met, in fact. I was singing as a soprano in the choir, and he was the conductor of the choir. This is how we met originally.
A very refined gentleman, by the way.
Yeah,
Everybody knows him
yeah.
by name, but when you know him in person, you'll find out a dear, great friend.
He's a genuine artist.
Yes,
a genuine artist.
Not only a painter, but also a musician as well.
He's an artist. He has it all from the artistic side, I have to say. This what attracted me, because I love art. And before falling for Farid, I fell for his art first, because his paintings are beautiful and very, very real and very genuine and very
and all of them carry a lot of
lively,
hope to the perspective
because
of anyone who's observing.
This shows, the inside of the artists. When the inside is full of joy and hope and goodness, the art he portrays has to reflect the inside. And this is exactly what happened also with my two daughters. My investment in my two daughters, because I believe in a very balanced life. It's good to study. It's very important, like what I've done with myself. I've studied very hard, I worked very hard, but at the same time I go to the gym and I'm very careful with my health. I never smoked. It's not because you really value the treasure you've given, health, so you don't destroy your health by your own hands. If it happens that you get sick and you have no force in it, you accept it. It's a different story, you see, and you try to get better and so. But I believe, and also culture, art is an integral part of our lives as well. So for my two daughters, the education and the bringing up, of course, with the foundation of faith, because we always pray together, we read the Bible together as a family. With this foundation, we give the values, the beliefs, and the strength to move on, to study very hard. Both of them graduated with high honors from universities, one in political science and the other in business.
American University as well?
Absolutely,
Yes.
with a great exposure, because Dalia, after graduating from political science with high honors from AUC, She went on to study for her master's in musical theatre, and she's also an opera singer at the Royal Academy of Royal Academy in London, Royal Academy of Music in London, and she got her master's there with honors as well. And now she's back, and she is doing a great job. She's a star now in musical theatre, and she gives very successful concerts, and she's really doing great, and I'm very proud of her. And Lily, who also studied economics and business administration with a whole year in St. Louis University in Spain. She also studied music and vocals and singing and dancing, and she came back, and now and she graduated with honors, which is very difficult in business, because I'm a professor in business. I know how it is when you graduate in business with honors. And at the same time, she went on with her career, with her professional career as an artist as well, and she's now starting to sing in concerts and to perform. So I'm very, very proud of them, because you want to give your children the good education, and at the same time you want to make them happy. So and that's the point of art here. If they love it because the genes are there, and they want to work in this field, they can do very well on business side as well. So they can be stars and get on a professional level, and at the same time do what they love, you know. And because art for us is not a luxury. Art is like sports, like study, education, involves not only academic, it involves art, music and all kinds of art, and it involves sports and all kinds of sports, because this makes a balance in life, you know. So you don't have this conflict. On the contrary, and here comes time management.
Yes.
We have to
talk about time management after the break, because this is very important, because to fulfill all these full circle genuine ladies and genuine husband, which I am proud to be a friend of his, and genuine lady, you have to have a lot of time management.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about time management
after the break.
Yes.
And this is Word of Info, and you can call us at 257-89407. We have today our distinguished guest, Professor Dr. Mona Zaki, strategic thinking and international marketing expert. So stay with us. Back again, World of Info, and our distinguished guest, Dr. Mona Zaki, strategic thinking and international marketing expert, and more with time management.
Yes, because I believe what you have done in your very young life, mashallah, is a lot. Because not only you have your master's degree or your PhD degree, or working in the university, or working with the Coptic Church, or working with the chair of Coptic Studies, or working as a cultural liaison officer in the American University, and raising the kids and doing all this stuff. This really needs a lot of self-discipline and time management, because as I always tell my students in the school, people with high IQ like you, like my students, and like Dr. Mona Zaki, their only enemy is themselves. Because sometimes a very high intelligent with high IQ and intelligent person, usually his only enemy is his frustration and his own demons. How were you able to fight all your demons inside, and to fight all these demons inside, and at the same time were able to cleverly do the time management? How was that possible? Because this is the most important question, and this is the secret of your success. I believe so.
Yeah, people wonder how I could really make all this and still look young. Thank you for the compliment.
No, it's not a compliment, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Be fit and still enjoy art and culture, and enjoy my peace, my inner peace, and which shows, thank God, for on my face. So yeah, it's a very interesting question, and it has a very simple answer. It's back to the foundation I told you about. It's my face. I start my day right. I have to pray every morning very, very early to say, God, this is your day. This is the day that the God has made. Let us enjoy and rejoice in it, and work hard and be disciplined. This is number one. Number two, as a strategist myself, it's my culture. I'm a strategic thinker by education, by culture, by tradition, by character, and on the top of this, by education. When I studied it, it made my life very organized. So if you have a vision, what you want to be in 20 years, in 30 years, in 50 years, it decides your strategy and it plans your tactics. So when I was very young, I had this vision. I wanted to, in spite of all other temptations, I had the vision of being a professor. I had the vision of having a family. I had the vision of being a successful businesswoman. When I was young, when I was still a university student. So once you have this vision, you work very hard to accomplish and to achieve your vision. And dreams come true when you have the faith, the discipline, and the perseverance. Because of this, it automatically leads you to time management. And because of faith, as I told you, your time is really blessed as well. You know, because when I remember Dr. John Gerhardt, the former president of AUC, when I requested 1 year sabbatical to finish my dissertation, just to write my thesis, my dissertation, my PhD dissertation, he told me, Mona, how can you let you go for 1 whole year? Because 1 year for you equals 4 years of any of us. I live 4 days in 1 day because of good time management and blessed day. You see, so I check the girls. They are always with me, always follow up, incredible follow up to a point that they tell me, Mommy,
sometimes
please,
they're bored. Get out of our
yes, yeah. Up till now, I follow up with all Farid's exhibitions and events, and all the social events are also very demanding. But at the same time, I go, because I'm on sabbatical for the last 2 years, I don't teach anymore. But when I was teaching, after a long day in the office, because of business, because of my consultancy firm, because of lots of strategic projects, because I'm a consultant in this field, I used to go to the university. I say, God, I'm so tired. How can I teach 2 classes at a row? 2 classes, and each class is at least 40 students. From 30 to 40 students. Honestly, it's not my power. It's on my the first page of my dissertation I used a very nice verse. My strength is sufficient because I am strong in your weakness. So this is very good, because when you have this, the power of God is in you. You know, it makes you supernatural. It gives you supernatural power. It is a supernatural power, and that's why you can dream. You know, sometimes people tell you it's too much what you're doing, and how can you make it? No, you can make it. You can make it because you're not alone. Because what you're doing is so important. You cannot stop. You cannot stop building. You cannot stop educating. You cannot stop working, and you don't really waste your time. You don't waste your health. You're investing in everything. And on the top of this, and it has been proven scientifically that women are multitask people.
Yes, I'm sure of that.
I believe in integration. You know, when I go to the gym at night, I take my 2 girls with me. So we bond together. We go and do some gym together. And at the same time, I watch news while doing gym, or I watch a movie to relax, you see. And at the same time, you know, something else is going on at home, you know. I give instructions to the help
the household
or the house, you see. So you follow up, you know, you do many things, you delegate. Also, I believe in Adam Smith's theory, division of labor.
Yes.
Absolutely. You delegate. And if I don't cook, for example, but if I cook, my cook will not have any work. You see, so you do what nobody can do, and you delegate what other people can do.
That's very important. This is the Adam Smith theory in economics, and definitely it's going on in the right track.
Yeah.
So it's the first thing is faith, And the second thing, time management, how really are you fighting your own demons? This is an important question, the demons of intelligence, because sometimes you always say, can I do that? And then you say to yourself, this is a very long and winding road. And if I do it, I will have to sacrifice something else. How can you have this choice between two things and time is only allowing one thing? Don't tell me that time allows everything, because time does not.
You see, it's the vision,
it's a
back to the
multiple choice
vision,
question, yes.
back to the vision and priorities. For me, my family comes first, for sure. I will never, never, never let go anything in the world. My two daughters have been always a priority in my life, in spite of the fact I leave any commitment if they need me. And this created in them a great sense of security and love and self-confidence. And I'm very, very proud of them. I never missed any parents' meeting. I never missed any time when they needed me on health. They were never in my arms. They were never missing my arms. You know, they always with me.
They never missed the mother's embrace.
I can't. You know, as a mother, it has been always like this. And I have to give credits to my own mother who taught me this. You know, being tender, being caring, because my own mother also is a career woman. You know, she's also a coptologist and Egyptologist, and she was heading a very important department at the French embassy for years, and she taught me a lot in this. And growing up in an atmosphere of respect, of love, and discipline and hard work, it makes the personality
full circle.
Absolutely, and balanced. You know, so you can give more. You know, and this I do hope that mothers take care of this point, because honestly, family comes first.
Yes.
So more to go about family, but after the break.
Yes, so back again, word of info, you can call us at 2578-9407. So back again, word of info, and with our distinguished guest, Dr. Mona Zaki, strategic thinking and international marketing expert.
Well, we can talk forever with Dr. Mona Zaki,
Yes.
because she really has the power of socialization. I would like to tell our listeners about the other side of Dr. Mona Zaki, which is her activity, which is touching the life of Egypt as a nation and a country, and her work as a co-founder in the Egyptian European Council. She's not a diplomat, although she has this diplomatic background, because her mother was working in the French embassy with the cultural affairs and being very much involved with a lot of French ambassadors and a lot of French diplomats. And this is a very special relation between Egypt and France, because France never occupied Egypt except for 3 years, and this was very back long ago. But the cultural influence of France in Egypt is very well intensified. It was the language of a lot of the elite, and your education was French. Yes. In the Merdiji, and so you had a glimpse of Europe, a very early glimpse of Europe in your life, in your early life. What stimulated you to do this diplomatic activities in the Egyptian European Council? And tell us about its activity and about its history, because I'm sure it has done a lot in improvement the relations between Egypt and European countries as a whole, and the European Union, of course.
Yes, yeah. In fact, you were absolutely right about the French. And as an artist myself, I write novels, and I was influenced by French literature, heavily influenced by French literature. And one of my most inspiring French writer is Corneille. Corneille is known by being the hardest writer in tragedies, you know.
Severe melodrama.
Yes. Yeah. But I love him, and of course Racine, Voltaire, and all those Molière, and all those French writers who led the French Revolution, taking part. And French culture and French literature and French music, and you see, and French education is very enriching, and it was very easy to switch to English after French. Except with the accent, because my accent is very French accent, but
Yes,
it's
I
okay.
noticed that, but,
all my
it's okay.
students after classes come and tell me, Dr. Mona, were you in a French school before? So yeah. So it's the and and but
C'est pas problème.
yeah, absolutely. Being interested in lobbying for Egypt and promoting the image of Egypt on all levels, especially in international media and among embassies in Egypt, different embassies, not only European, in fact, but
I mean,
also
a lot of countries are heavily represented in Egypt.
Absolutely. So having a strong relationship with ambassadors of those countries have a great impact back home for them, and a great impact on Egypt, because it's their ambassadors who bring the business indirectly or directly. But you want investments in Egypt. You want to go as a businesswoman as well, because it's not only I'm not only academic but or culture, but I'm also into business. I have my own private companies and I have my consultancy firm, and as a businesswoman who wants to attract as much as possible foreign direct investments and investments, even local investments, and so you need to be so well exposed to the international markets, you see, to the other cultures, to the other business, international business. So you have to be active on civil society level. This is number one, because this is the soft power of your country, including art and culture, of course, and all kinds of soft power. But civil society has a very important role in Egypt. You cannot put all the pressure on the government. You have to really promote the work of people to people. Civil society has to be more open and more attractive to the foreign direct investments, you see. So this is what I have done in different councils and in different organizations. One of them is the Egyptian European Council, which made a huge effort to make friends to Egypt, especially when Egypt went through the two revolutions. I remember very well on the 30th of June revolution. That time I was in Hungary with my mother, because my mother had health problems and we had to travel to fix few things health-wise for her. And during that time, the Prime Minister of Hungary, Mr. Viktor Orban, knew that I was there because of the decoration before, and he was aware of all my activities, and he was aware of my relationship with Hungary, and he requested to meet with me personally, and not with the government representative, not with the ambassador. He wanted to meet with an objective person from Egypt, active in civil society and open to truth. And he told me, please explain to me the situation, because I'm sending my Minister of Foreign Affairs, that time it was Mr. Martoni, to Brussels to discuss the situation of Hungary regarding the rest of the European countries regarding the 30th of June. And if you remember, the two countries who supported heavily Egypt during that time from Europe were Russia and Hungary.
Yes.
And the same case with the Russians, because Ambassador Mikhail, who was during when we founded the Egyptian European Council, we were very active with the Russian ambassador that time. When he became the special consultant to the Middle East
in the Foreign Service, in the Russian Foreign Service,
yes,
back in Moscow.
Back in Moscow, and he reported directly to President Putin. He knew what's in Egypt, and he got to know more about Egypt from this Egyptian European Council. So the work of civil society is extremely important to be used as soft power to introduce and to open the country to different nations, to different governments, to different roads and opportunities. And it does make a huge difference on a very positive level.
So you work, I mean, you met Mr. Orban on that day.
Yeah, and I explained to him, because the fashion and the talks were that it's not a revolution, and it's
this rubbish things that was said
exactly, I made it very, very clear to him. I told him my daughters are in Tahrir Square, or the rest of my family are there, everybody's there, and it's not anything else except it's a real revolution,
it's a popular revolution,
coming from the Egyptians themselves, supported, thank God it got supported by our military. Otherwise we were going to be all dead or terrorized or killed by the other groups.
Or in poor people, or became poor people, as I always say. So your role in this has been really very much appreciated, even by foreign countries like the Austria and Hungary, as regards the decorations, but still remains an important point, is that sometimes people say that culture and business do not go hand in hand, and that if you want to have a cultural or background or something like that, or like the famous saying that was given they say that Goebbels said it, I don't know whether this was true or not, the famous media consultant and the media propagandist of Hitler, who said, when I hear the word culture, I always start fetching for my gun, and this is total rubbish, of course. So is really, how can culture be helped by business, or vice versa? Is this possible?
It must be possible, because that's the only way for any human being to have a balanced, normal life. You cannot make money all your life. It's very boring. You cannot live for money. Very, very boring, and you will end up being on your own, dying alone, and miserable person. And you need the money to promote culture and to enjoy life. You cannot enjoy life without culture. You cannot enjoy life without art. If you cannot live without love, so how can you continue? And art is an expression of love, and love is portrayed in art. So you cannot live without love, and you cannot really have a balanced, normal life or a happy life without this type of productive, artistic, meaningful joie de vivre, as we say in French. You know, you have to enjoy life while working hard, you know, because you cannot keep on working hard all the time. And culture is not a luxury, as I told you. Culture is an integral part of our lives, and it has nothing to do with money. You can have a very poor family, but singing Kulthum, enjoying a radio, a piece of, you know. So it's art. It is part of the human nature. So even
I believe that
art is everywhere, even in the sky.
I mean, in Europe and especially in the United States, actually, we have to mention that a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of rich businessmen have formed and adopted and put their collections for display and given them as sort of a special fund for keeping these museums going on, like for example the Guggenheim Museum, or even the Metropolitan, which has a lot of collections donated by
private
others.
collections donated to.
So you see that this, like what happened during Mohammed Mahmoud Khalil, famous Egyptian museum, you see that this could be coming in the near future to our entrepreneurs and our business people to have a share in enlightenment.
I am sure it will. I'm sure it will, because this is the future, and this is the only way to maintain the journey and to continue building our country. It's through soft power, and we have to invest more and more in soft power.
It's definitely very enlightening what you have done to us today and to our listeners. We really enjoyed very much your company, Dr. Mona Zaki, professor, strategic thinker, and a mother,
international marketing expert.
yes, and a mother, and most important of all, an Egyptian human being. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
It's
Dr.
lovely
Mona.
being with you. Thank you.
And by this, we come to the end of Word of Info. With us was Dr. Mona Zaki, strategic thinking and international marketing expert, Dr. Amr Mabrouk, professor of plastic surgery at Ain Shams University, Dua Muhammad at the controls. I'm Najla NAGIB. See you next Thursday, same time, same station, FM 95.4.